I posted a video asking you guys which game I should review next. After an overwhelming response, the winner is, drumroll please, Heart of the Alien for the Sega CD.
Hey guys, it's me Samtron and welcome to the first episode of Games with Samtron. 7 years ago I said that I would make a video about Heart of the Alien. This is not that video. Instead I'd like to talk about Out of This World. The reason for that is because that's the game that I played when I was a kid, and therefore I just have more experience with it.
I'm just going to assume that you guys have at least tried this game before. Most of the people I know have played the first stage of the game. Hopefully you have too. I first want to quickly tell you guys a short story from my childhood, the first time I came into contact with Out of This World. So back in 1994, my mom bought me game magazines from the supermarket sometimes. One time, I saw this 2-page spread about Heart of the Alien, and it looked so freaking amazing to me. In fact, here's the article. Anyway, I got so excited that I actually got a bloody nose. For some reason, that used to happen to me a lot. I tried to rent the game, but I didn't have a Sega CD, only a Genesis. So, I gave up hope. Anyway, the next year, my dad rented Out of This World, and suddenly I realized that this is the game that I wanted to play. It was so traumatizing for me, though. I'd never seen such realistic death scenes in a game up until then. Gory, sure, in Mortal Kombat, but Out of This World looks much more realistic to me. Moving on, I love all of the small details in Out of This World, like the movement in the background, for example, which you can see right here. And, of course, the cutscenes, many of which are in the very early portions of the game. And of course, we cannot forget about the very famous Even when Lester charges his gun, detail in his appearance is apparent and appropriate. In fact, the gun charge detail is one of my favorites. It's also cinematic in presentation with perfectly timed music and animations happening all around. The entire game is a maze that leaves the player guessing which way to go and wondering what lies ahead. As it should be, provided the player doesn't use a walkthrough, the game should present a decent challenge. You will find yourself going back and forth, almost running in circles to figure out what it is that you needed to trigger to move on to the next portion of the game. So memorization is really important. You really have to focus on timing your every move too. The slightest mistake will kill you instantly. The game, gives you zero room for mistakes, and basically everything you see can kill you instantly. That's kind of frustrating sometimes, I know. But luckily, there is no game over, and the password system works great. Out of This World is available on basically every machine capable of playing games, so there's no good reason for you to not play it. Amiga, Atari ST, MS-DOS, Apple II, SNES, Sega Genesis, Atari Jaguar, Sega CD, 3DO, Mac OS, Windows, and Windows Mobile, Android, iOS, OS X, Linux, Wii U, Nintendo handhelds, PS3, PS4, PS Vita, Xbox One, and Steam all have Out of This World available to play, so there is absolutely no reason to pass it up. You need to play this game. Let's talk about those different versions though. Like I said before, I'm playing on the Sega Genesis. Look at the difference between the most recent version and the one I'm playing. It runs so much faster and is of a really great quality. The Genesis version isn't the best. The sound quality and color scheme took the worst hits, but the creator was so adamant about making sure that his work wasn't tampered with too much. The Sega CD port is quite similar to the Sega Genesis version, but the soundtrack has been changed and the colors are much brighter. Early fans of the game said that this was the best console port. As for the second part of the game, well, it completely lacks the perfection that is Out of This World, and its development had nothing to do with the original creator. This is the absolute first version of the game, on the Amiga computer system. I really love this version. The audio is perfect, the graphics are beautiful. This is the way that the creator originally intended the game to be. And then we have the 3DO version. Look at it. It just disgusts me. I think it kind of looks like someone went crazy with the mid-90s Paint Shop Pro texture packs. Actually, the backgrounds were hand-painted and the soundtrack was completely changed without any consultation from the creator. It doesn't even really look like the same game. It has a completely different feel to it. It's a disgrace and overall disrespects the creator's original work. But it proves a point that Eric Chahi was correct to remain so protective over his work. Sadly, when this game was in development, he was working on a different game, Heart of Darkness.
Next, I'd like to talk about censorship, something that unfortunately Out of This World was a victim of.
Other changes were made when the game entered the North American console market. It's a well-known fact that censorship was a huge deal in the 1990s, and Out of This World was no exception. Here's a clip of the bath scene from the original Amiga game. We can see their butt cracks. Shocking, I know. These small lines were removed from the console ports by Interplay. Other censored images in the game include the appearance of blood upon death, as if the game wasn't already violent enough. It's pretty cool to look at how far we've come in terms of censorship in media. These clips are from a documentary about the making of Out of This World. I really recommend watching it. I think it's so fascinating that almost every piece of Out of This World is straight from the mind of Eric Chahi. Right now we're looking at some sketches he did when he was imagining the game. See, this man is not simply a game developer, he's a visionary. I think he himself didn't really have any ideas for a true story while developing the game. He just wanted to make something that was science fiction, and due to that, it doesn't attempt to explain itself, the setting, or the story. Why is this civilization crumbling? Why were Lester and Buddy captured? Why is there no vegetation? These details are for you to decide. He used rotoscope and vector techniques to create the animations, something that was very progressive for its time. He even designed the original cover art for the game, several versions of it in fact, using different color palettes to inspire different emotions.
Out of This World, not just your average game. Its simplistic style and cinematic elements have been historically important. The creator of Out of This World has influenced many, many developers.
Like the creators of Flashback and Ico, for example. Eric Chahi has developed a number of other games like Heart of Darkness and From Dust, which I hope to cover in the near future. You are the man, Eric Chahi. I hope you continue to bring us more unique and innovative creations. My final thoughts on the game? It's influenced me a great deal over the course of my lifetime. From aesthetic that I find attractive in a video game, to my general interest in science fiction, and even opened me up to the French science fiction genre. The controls are not always smooth, especially in the home console ports, but they don't reduce the quality of gameplay for me. In fact, I think they add to the challenge that makes it entertaining. The music is beautifully composed and adds to the feelings that the game evokes. The puzzles are challenging and interesting. The lack of HUD, unlimited lives, and easy-to-use password system is unique and a breath of fresh air when compared with other games of the time. My official rating for this game is 6 out of 7 plumbuses.
And now I'm going to leave you with a fun little montage that I've compiled. Thanks for watching!